Hi, welcome to Deep End. My name doesn't matter, but I did want to tell you about a book that I just made called Recreated, which is a poetic journey through the Gospel of John. It's a book of poetry through the Gospel of John, and there's some illustrations to kind of go along with the poetry as we go through it. The idea is that as you study through the Gospel of John, you would see the scripture brought to life in a creative way, that it would inspire you to think deeply about the text and the scripture itself as you go through it. I'm very excited for the book. I thought I'd read one for you now just so that you could kind of get a handle for what it feels like, what the book is like. So I thought I'd just read for you real quick the poem 10 Feet to God. It's got this illustration here, and the poem is based on the idea of John chapter 5, where there's a guy by a pool in Bethesda who's been lame for a really long time, and I imagine him being about 10 feet from the pool that he could get into, that he believed would heal him before Jesus approaches him and does the healing, and then he's allowed to go worship. So this is at 10 feet to God, John chapter 5. I measured the distance between God and man. It was about 10 feet from where I lay, unable to stand. Well, that's what I was told. If I was to behold the King in glory, worship his story, or know his peace, it was just about 10 feet. The pool looked cold and smelled of death. A multitude crowded around, holding their breath, in hopes that a dip in the bath would heal their broken souls, longing to feel a connection to God, a place in the feast. It was only about 10 feet. The sad truth is, I could see the praises rise, rising on clouds of sacrifice, lifted to the sky, in songs of celebration where I lay here void of jubilation, praying he'd say I was worthy and could join the entreat. After all, I only need to go about 10 feet. 10 feet from God my legs could not go. 38 years of worship wasted here I could not know. Unable to move 10 feet, the smell of death replete in my nose, the untold woes of decay and pain in desperate strain. It was 10 feet that could not be made. Resigned, I sat on my mat, no hope of crawling the stone's throw to the pool. I'd been there some time, waiting alone, a fool. Outcast from my Maker's throne, I couldn't make those 10 feet. I'd die there waiting, longing, incomplete. It was too far, those simple 10 feet. Then the shepherd came, and I, unaware of his name, he opened up my frame and asked me, "Do you want to be well?" I can't make the 10 feet that would allow me in to the place where worshipers are cleansed from sin. There's 10 whole feet between me and God, so I remain here, resting in the sod. The shepherd looked down, some sort of vagabond rabbi. He said, "Rise and walk. I'll meet you inside." I didn't believe at first it was true, but then I stood, and the gates I walked through. I entered the temple glorious. 38 years appeared to be but a trivial dream. The shepherd made me clean. To see the King with wonders and hopes that left me entranced with joy, my soul began to engage in the dance. You see, I measured the distance between God and man. I could not make it, and we cannot stand on our own hope for righteousness to hone the ability. Too far is 10 feet. The distance between God and man is too great, so God came down to look us in the face. There is no gap when Christ we meet. His forgiveness of sin overcomes 10 feet. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a single poem from this book. It's available on Amazon.com, also on Lulu.com. I hope that it blesses you. Go get a copy. $11.99 on Amazon, $10.99 on Lulu.com. Just type in J. Novus Elkins and you'll find it, or Recreate It and you'll find it. I hope that it blesses you and helps you study the gospel with more fervor and more energy. Thank you for joining me in the deep end. Now, go get to work.